I'm doing a review for this book, Talking to My Daughter by Yanis Varoufakis. So I already know of Varoufakis. I've watched a number of his speeches, lectures, whatever, and I like him. I don't always agree with him, but I like the integrity that he approaches things with. You may also know him as the economics lecturer and Greek finance minister a few years ago who tried to hold out against the EU bailout of Greece with its attached austerity measures. So this book, it was a quick, easy book to read, giving a well-explored introduction to economics and how it affects our everyday lives. It neatly explains some of the flaws of our current economic systems and allows the idea to slip in that there could be better alternatives if we allow ourselves to imagine them. Varoufakis talks about the difference between societies with markets of the past and today's market societies. The reason the world is going so crazy so quickly today is because money and profit are almost the only factors considered in decision making. From building roads, to selling arms, to producing shoddy goods that nobody wants, to our lack of a long-term solution for these shoddy goods when they are quickly replaced. This book talks about how everything in our modern market societies has a monetary value, and if the monetary value is low, it is deemed unimportant, even if its experiential value is high, even very high. This made me think of motherhood. I always feel that I am dismissed or looked down on by society because I do not earn a wage. I am not contributing financially. All the love I give, the home-cooked meals, the cleaning, the organising, the talking about the world, the support and encouragement, the experience of being together is ignored because in our world, it does not compare to the respectability of earning a wage. Although I would argue that the value to society of these things could wipe out public debt for good. This is why we are encouraged to abandon our children, our old people and the sick, so that we can work instead, even though the value of caring for the people who need us would benefit our society extraordinarily and perversely cost less. But in our society, almost the only indicator of a person's value is their salary. This book is only an introduction to economics, and I'm sure that there are other sources that could give more robust definitions of the theories discussed. But what I think this book gets across well is just how important economics is to all of us. Not in a boring, doing your tax returns or trying to understand how inflation works way, but because our lives are directly shaped and controlled by the economic practices of our societies. The reason we feel we have to work, how our wage is formulated, how far it goes, why we live in certain places, eat certain foods, buy certain things, how we spend our time, how we approach our health and the organisation of our society. This book examines how market economies control every aspect of our lives, including things that it definitely should not have control over. We can see this with the ongoing privatisation of healthcare and social security. Economics is incredibly important. As the book points out, economics is probably the most robust and long-lasting system of population indoctrination and control that is known. It is so accepted by us that we often forget that it is just a theory, an idea, one version of how we could be living. There are others. I guess that the biggest drawbacks of this book is the questions it raises which are left unanswered. If our modern societies are forever fueled by public debt, where does that end? What happens when the debt's called in? If money is literally written into creation on a spreadsheet, who's keeping track of the overall books? Can this system be maintained without the underwritten threat of murder? What are the alternatives? Are they in any way achievable? In our lifetime? How? I guess that is the point of this book, to raise questions, to throw it out to the crowd. Because maybe if we open our minds and put our heads together, we can solve this. This book leaves the reader with the impression that the economy is something that they should really be paying attention to, and if possible, actively looking to influence. Because, as this book explains, the economy is already very important to our lives, and it is being heavily influenced, but by a minority of people with their own agenda. Currently, this system benefits the already rich and powerful at the expense of the majority of people. We are literally paying for their lives they want. And this is all being done with massive expense to our lives, our time, the planet, and its wildlife. This book is aimed as an introduction to young people about the economy and to encourage them to take ownership of it and to look outside the box for ways to improve it. I can't fault it on that message. Perhaps if young people can understand the collective power that they have and the potential that they have to make the world a better place, then they can achieve what so many previous generations have failed to. Or they might just get the shit kicked out of them until they submit, as has also happened to many generations before them. Okay, so here it is again. Okay, thank you.